Fletcher. Now sit back and prepare to be entertained. Welcome to the Podcast.
But okay, so we're back. And we're still here with Jeff Brown, even though he has nicer weather than we do. We decided to chat with him a little bit longer since we're here anyway. And for those of you that have been following along, you all know already that I went to Worldcon in Glasgow. And every time I talk about all of the great people that I met there, Jeff Brown is one of them. I had no idea I was going to meet him. I don't think I fully knew who you were. I think like Steven said that you were going to be at dinner, and I was like, cool, must be another writer. and then no, you're actually a super awesome illustrator, and you're cool to hang out with. So was Worldcon your first convention, and how many more times are you going to go to Worldcon?
Yeah, I went to like the 20 books to 50K back in 2021. And I was displaying my art there. But other than that, this was my second convention. It was absolutely awesome. So I plan on going back. I'm going back this year in Seattle.
Oh, awesome. So I'll see you there again. Yeah. So, and you seem to set up camp at the Broken Binding Table in Glasgow with your art. But is there any particular standout moments for you that made that convention so awesome, or were you like me in a haze of alcohol for the whole time? And
yeah. I was almost gonna say, like, it feels weird talking to you without a glass of beer in my hand. Like, like I feel like I'm missing something
for the first time. Yeah, I can see your face so clearly.
No, I don't know if there's any specific moment. I think a big thing for me was, obviously this is very, what's the word? I'm not a writer. Self-aggrandizing, is that the right word? Where I feel like when I would like meeting people and talking to people and they would recognize me from my name was crazy to me.
Well, so I understand why you think that's the right word, but also it's not self-aggrandizing because
What's the actual word I'm looking for?
No, that is the word you're looking for, but you're just wrong.
Oh, well, it's like I feel like I'm patting myself on the back is what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying,
that,
but you're still wrong because like you deserve it, and also what a cool feeling to be recognized like that.
Yeah,
it was
just.
Sorry, I didn't know who you were. Now I feel like an asshole.
Well, I didn't know who you were either, so that's.
That's okay. I'm nobody.
It was such a big year for me this year. Because I think things just absolutely blew up. I think is kind of three things. First of all, I think I got a lot better this year, and my mindset towards art changed sort of right in around January, and where I wanted to take my art. And then I got a big opportunity with Broken Binding, and gotten a great partnership with them, and did a ton of projects, and that kind of helped me get into contact with a lot of other, or I guess build trust with a lot of other publishers and other special edition book companies. I think as soon as they hired me, right away, Matt from the Broken Binding, he said this and this and this company are going to hire you within 6 months because they always steal my fucking artists.
That sounds like
I won't say who, but won't say which companies. But it happened in 2 months. So
congrats on being lured. But it sounds like you're staying loyal to Matt. At least for now. No judgment.
No, absolutely. I think Broken Binding is the coolest company I've ever worked for by far. I think just apart from being amazing people, it's just exactly kind of my dream company to work with in terms like everything from, especially the kind of books they're doing is just exactly what I love. and then the process of doing it is just like working with Matt and then working with Patrick now with art direction. It's just it is such a good art director in terms of like the way I like to work with people. It's there's a lot of creative freedom and a lot of cool brainstorming. But with a lot of art directors I've worked with, it's just been a really bad experience, and lots of design by committee, and it just turns into like little tiny change, like this hell of tiny changes over and over, and turns to something that nobody likes. So
the compromise that makes everybody unhappy.
Exactly, yeah. And I feel like that's the case with most publishers, and there's a lot of books a lot of covers that come out that people are just like, it's just like, that's one of the covers of all time, and that's a lot of times why.
Yeah.
Whereas with Broken Binding, they're willing to try new things, do creative ideas, brainstorm, and kind of like, what's the coolest possible thing we could do for this? So it's a lot of fun to work with them.
I'm curious. You mentioned that things sort of changed for you and how you were approaching art in January. What was it that changed? What sort of clicked for you?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So I had a friend that I was talking to. She's also a designer, Katie from StoryWrappers.com. Promotion. You go with her. She mostly does like romantasy covers. She's amazing. But we were talking about what kind of like I was kind of torn between, should I go more into 3D with my art and into kind of more realism and detail in that sense, or should I go more into digital painting and doing things by hand? Because I was kind of half and half torn between both of those paths, and I wanted to get much better at one of them, and I wasn't sure which direction to take things. And she just asked me a question. She said, when you look back at your life in 40, 50 years, and you, hopefully if I get that old, I guess. I think she just said when you retire or whatever, when you look back at your life, what would you want to look back on and be proud of? And I said, easily it's more painting and that kind of doing things by hand. And she's like, well, she was like, I didn't expect that strong of a response, but there's your answer. Do that.
Yeah. I've been asked that question too before when I was waffling about art, and it's amazing how fast that snaps you into focus.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna venture a guess that one of the reasons the 3D was on the table was because business, like it's a business decision because it's popular, or it would open up certain opportunities for you, which I mean is a legitimate thing to consider. But you know, that mindset of what would you like to stand by for the rest of your career, or when you look back, it just strips away all the artifice of capitalism. And just laser focuses in on reminding you why you're here and why you're doing this incredibly painful and frustrating and just endless treadmill of calling. And I say that from a place of deep love. Like I love my art, and I'm so glad I have that outlet, which is why it's really important to consider, you know, the legacy that you're leaving. And it's really cool to hear that you went through the same thing.
I think I'm not sure that 3D was so much like a better business decision. It's like that's what I see all the artists doing that are like, I guess concept art is a big thing that I see a lot of other artists that are doing anything similar to what I'm doing are working in that kind of industry, and they're all doing 3D because you get a lot of stuff for free with 3D. In terms of you get your lighting for free and you get your perspective for free, and you get like there's a lot of stuff that's just there already, and so you can focus in on actually designing things, getting all your detail in from just like if you can sort of bash in different models, 3D models to get a result that you want. And it's a cool creative process for sure. But
that logic does sound like a kind of a business decision, because it's like if other folks are doing it, Yeah, and you're seeing it as a successful thing for other people to be doing, and so it's like,
Yeah.
should I be in that space too?
Yeah, exactly.
That is a career decision.
Yeah, I think it's a lot. So it's a lot faster for in some ways to get all the detail. Like if you let's say you're doing a giant cityscape with thousands of houses, if you can download a pack of like a kit bash pack with all the fantasy houses, and then you can set them up like on a scatter kind of thing, and you can move the plane around where they're located. So you get these hills, and you get all those randomized houses. You can get that within a minute, and then you put a light there, and you put your background. You can put your sort of lighting set up with HDRI to get the lighting to feel right for the mood of the scene. And so you've got this big cityscape within a couple minutes.
I'm curious, like seeing how very extremely digital and computer assisted that is. What are your thoughts on AI image generation, the use of AI?
I fucking hate it.
Yeah. Because somebody did all that programming, right? Like that's somebody's work, and you're
somebody programmed that AI.
Yeah, that sounds like what you're saying.
No, I mean, when you're talking about the packs that you download, like that's somebody.
Well, it's another artist that built those in 3D. Yeah, and then you're paying for the rights to be able to use that commercially.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to ask. Yeah, and so that's work. Like that's somebody's line of work, and then if you switch it to some other generation platform, then you're.
Yeah, well, and you're paying for the rights. So that's people do ask that. They're like, well, what's the difference between using either like stock photos and photo bashing art or 3D buying 3D models?
You have to pay for stock photos.
Yeah, and it's like you somebody took the photo and you pay for them. You pay for the photo, or somebody modeled the houses or whatever it is, and then you pay them for the commercial rights to use that.
Yeah.
So I mean that's the one difference, and then you're using that as a piece of things, and that's not, if you just put that in as is, it's not a piece of art, or it's not anything marketable. You have to compose the image and move things around and create the lighting, create the atmosphere, and put in the focal point and make it work as an image. It's a lot of work, and it's a whole art on its own.
What do you use a 3D scape like that for? Is that also for book covers, or is that more geared toward like game design? Oh, it's also for book covers. Okay.
Yeah, I use that for book covers as well. Like I did board game, and then I did RPG, and then I did a little bit of video game concept art back when I started with art. But I've pretty much fully moved. Well, it's nothing that anybody would know. It's just like small, like really small games. So
Indie for life is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Your whole solidarity, man. Yeah, but so you would use them for book covers, just instead of the illustrated style, basically.
Yeah, so it's or basically I would get, what I would typically do is I would like, I have a couple covers where it's like 99% 3D.
Oh, cool.
But like if you go on my website, there's one called Atlas of the Latter Earth or something like that. It's like this giant statue of like it's like way bigger than this tiny little city that's in the bottom, and all these ships going by, and that's like probably 98% 3D, and then I just touched it up a little bit in Photoshop after that.
That's cool. So it is just a different skill for the same intention.
Yeah, exactly.
But the illustration is what called to you.
Yeah, I think that I just have more fun with it, and the idea of just uncomplicating things, and because most of the covers I've done over the past 10 years have been with a mix of 3D and then photo bashing things. So it's like you mix in photos of mountains and like castles, and put in like either maybe get the castle in 3D, rotate it around, get the lighting, and then put photo textures on it, and it's like this whole mix of that, and then you paint on top of both of those things a little bit and touch things up. So it's been kind of a mix of all three of those things for the most part. But the thing I kind of kind of wanted to go back to this year is just getting more into, and I'll still use both of those tools sometimes, but not that I'm against either of them. But I think I've moved more towards just that simplicity of just having a couple Photoshop brushes and just sitting there for a bunch of hours and just painting it. And I've just really enjoyed that lately. So I think that's kind of where I've gone, and I think there's been a really good response to it as well.
Yeah, clearly, because you're, as you said, you're now with the Broken Binding, and you're getting a lot of really cool projects coming across your desk.
I'm looking at your site now. Like those covers, they jump out. Like the sort
it's
of
a skill.
Digitally painted, but still painted. Like they look phenomenal. It's not something you've seen a billion fucking times.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's this digital cover again. It's like, nope, that is freaking cool.
That is Jeff Brown. Yeah. So, but I was trying to talk about conventions, and completely sidetracked us. So you did Glasgow, and you did one other convention this year. Is that right?
Yeah. I did Dragon Con after that as well.
Dragon Con. That's the one in
Atlanta.
In Atlanta, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And how was that? Because I've heard because it's so big. I've heard that it's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how you found.
It's like 10 times as big.
Yeah.
I think I don't know the exact numbers, but roughly I think that Worldcon, at least in Glasgow, was like 6,000 people ish, and I think that this one was like 60,000. That's what I heard, and so I don't know if that's actually true, but that's what I heard people saying.
Yeah,
so.
whatever.
That's what's true. More important is what random people say is more important than the actual facts. That's what if I've learned anything in my life, that's it. Yeah.
How did that affect like how it felt to be there, or did you find like your bubble of people? And
I think that you find your bubble of people.
Okay.
Like whereas I think Worldcon was a lot more focused on writers and books, and DragonCon was not really. That was a very, very small part of it. So I feel like maybe there was even less writers and books being like a part of it at DragonCon. So I feel like there's more authors. So it's probably. It's like a just general nerdy convention.
Okay, so there's like comic and TV and stuff
it's like a Comic-Con kind of thing. It's just general fantasy. So like I was getting close to the downtown and in the Uber from the airport, and I see like 8 people walking by dressed as Jedi, and I'm like, we must be getting close.
We're getting there. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense, and that's probably why it's so much bigger. But then, exactly. If you're there specifically for the writing community, it probably feels a bit smaller if there's less of.
I felt like it was. I mean, I don't know actual numbers or anything like that, but it felt like there was less authors there, at least in that area. I'd guess that there's probably less authors, but I don't know the numbers, of course. But there was still lots and lots and lots of authors. Everybody was every night they were meeting at the Westin bar.
There's always one bar.
So next year, if you're looking for authors, that's where everybody's hanging out for the writing community.
Yeah, there always seems to be one, and that's how it was in Glasgow too, where there was one specific hotel that was the after party. That was the place to go. And it's like if you lost track of people and you didn't know what to do next,
just meet back there.
I don't even remember the name of the hotel
because I was always
drunk. Maybe. So I was drunk by the time it was time to hit it up. So it was like, my husband knows where they're going. It's fine. We're going there.
So, Krystle, have you ever actually been to any of the Canadian conventions?
No.
That are actually close to us and we could just drive to?
I've intended to go to CanCon both years, and just both years, this year and last year, my shit luck, I've been really sick the exact weekend that it's here. So I haven't been able to go. I know there's a couple in Toronto, ?
That sounds like a bad excuse. I don't know.
A bad excuse not to go to a convention while I'm
I think you're just making that up.
Yeah.
I was Oh, sick. That's why I didn't go.
I was so mad about it. I was so mad about it though, because it's like I was just starting to really miss like Glasgow. Like it's such a strange experience where
Yeah.
we were only there for a few days, and yet like every day was so full that it felt like a lot longer.
Yeah,
and you
it
got
felt
to
like
meet so many
weeks.
people. Yeah.
It was really
It's like
fucking
in a good way. Yeah, it's horrible. Like,
No, in
yeah.
a good way. And
The
so
time
it's like,
flies when you're having fun. That took forever. It's like,
yeah.
yeah.
And so, and then you get home from vacation and you're tired and you got to get back into the routine, and, the kids start going to school. And then this lull was happening and I was like, man, I wish I could just go back to Glasgow. Oh, but I'll get to go to CanCon in Ottawa in a couple weeks. And then the kids brought something home from school and I was like floored. Like it was so bad. I was so miserable.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, it's not an excuse. I know Fletcher would give that as an excuse, but you saw how talkative I am. Like that, I really wanted to go.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go and talk to people.
I had to come up with an entirely different excuse not to come.
Yeah. Is there any in Toronto?
Yeah. I can't remember what it's called. There's some fantasy convention in Toronto. It's an hour from me. I mean, that's so far.
That's
it's
so
a
far.
long way.
I'd have to drive home afterwards, or maybe cab.
Yeah, that's the
sure
worst. When it's like within driving distance, then it's even more tiring because then you can't it's too much to book a hotel because it's like, well, that's such a waste.
That's ridiculous.
Or you just close the bar like a proper party animal and start walking home. I don't know. all of these
just all nighter from the bar to back to the convention in the morning. You just keep going.
All right, so that's what we're doing this year.
Yeah, you'll have to tell me what the actual name of the convention is. So
that I'll look it up and we'll talk later.
It's ToronCon.
You just made that up.
Yeah, I know.
Jeff, you're coming, right?
If they have CanCon, that's such a silly name. I don't know. ToronCon is even better. So
maybe. So are you planning to hit some more conventions? I guess next year.
Yeah, I mean, I got major FOMO from the Dragonsteel one, so I'll probably want to do that. It looks so cool. By cool I mean absolutely fucking nerdy, but cool.
The cultural opposite of cool.
Yeah, are kind of cool,
Yeah, that just happened this last weekend, didn't it? Like I think I saw a lot of. I didn't realize that there was another convention so close to the holidays, and I was like, oh, people are posting their memories of some other convention. No, wait, I think people are actually there right now. God damn it.
Yeah, there was lots of authors there, and I didn't realize how big of a deal. I mean, I'd just kind of been in my own kind of bubble doing covers and stuff for years, and I haven't really talked to anybody.
Right.
I think some of that was I was just kind of sad. I mean, this would be a good conversation topic too, but getting into, I guess, that whole idea of just book covers as just the book needs a cover to sell, but not really caring about it. And that whole side, that whole side of publishing and self-publishing, and that's where I've kind of felt like it's just kind of, it's sad in a way of, it's just like, well, people don't actually care about it. The author might be like, oh, this is cool, but nobody else really cares about the cover or comments on it. It's just kind of a way to sell the book. And then getting into the community that I've gotten into with Worldcon and with Broken Binding, where there's a lot of people who maybe even more in the book collector crowd, people who are the opposite. They don't actually care about the book and they just want the pretty pictures.
That must be such an ego boost for you too, right? Like, it's just like, that's right. I'm the Tad Williams special edition, and you're here for me.
Yeah, you don't even know who Tad Williams is, and you got the book, and you just like the pictures. There's a lot of people who haven't read the books, and they're like, it's on my TBR. Which I totally get that because I'm the same way, but it's really funny. It's a big switch for me from people who don't care about the art and only care about the book to not even not that they don't care about the book, but it's like I haven't read the book yet, or it's maybe in a year I'll read it, but I really love the art. It's I mean, obviously it makes me feel very good.
It must have aligned really well with that kind of mental switch that you had at the beginning of the year, where it's like all of a sudden you were ready, and then by being ready, it pivoted you into the community that you kind of needed.
Yeah. Well, I think I got into social media. Like, social media is really frustrating because you feel like you're posting something and like 8 people see it, and like, and it just feels kind of pointless a lot of times. Or I've felt that way about social media. But when I started working with the Broken Binding, I'm working on big name projects, and obviously they have their own fan base and they're tagging me and stuff. So it's like, well, like I'd be stupid not to take advantage of that and sort of be there in that, like on Twitter and on Instagram when they're tagging me anyways, to not be, communicating with people and like when they tag me, they go somewhere and I'm actually active there. So I guess that kind of kicked me into gear about actually getting involved in social media. And it's been really cool because there's been so many people who really love art and really love books, and it's been really refreshing to me to meet people in this community. It's very exciting and kind of has made me feel a lot more invigorated with art and books in general.
Out of curiosity, and not at all because I have a couple of special editions coming up, how far in advance are you booking these days?
Great. Yeah. Right now it's around August.
There, right?
Yeah.
August. That's actually not too bad. Okay. That's better than I thought. I was expecting like a year and a half.
Yeah, I used to be booking like three months in advance. But like even in January, and now it's kind of, I was doing lots of projects every month. I still am, but now it's just kind of booked up a lot more this year.
The momentum is really gearing up now.
Well, and it's
so we have like probably about a 6-month window where we can get you, and then you'll be beyond us, and it'll be too late for us.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. I don't know what things will be like, but it's been really cool because this year was tricky because I was still booking all my self-published clients, and then all of a sudden on top of that I was getting a bunch of like publishers and special editions, and they're like, we need this like now within 2 months or whatever, and I don't want to say no to them.
You charge extra for now. I hope that feels like a good opportunity.
So
I mean, luckily as writers, we're like really good at scheduling and planning things several months in advance.
Are we though? Is that something we're supposed to be good at?
I mean, some people are very, very specific about that in self-publishing, and I don't know why. And then some people do too much of that, and other people are just like, I'll publish it in a few years whenever I get around to it. So there's all kinds of people.
That's also like that goes beyond my ineptitude, and it starts to stress me out, where it's like, I'm not great at it, but I do at least need a date and a deadline.
Yeah. I've worked with all kinds of people. I've worked with the extremes of like the people who publish a book a month to
the 20
the 20 books crowd. There's a lot of people in there who publish one book every month. Wow. And the process is just absolutely insane. And then to the opposite extreme, I had this one client. I haven't worked with him in a few years, but he'll probably just message me randomly. But
he's ready.
I've been working with him since pretty much right the first month he contacted me that I started doing book covers. Well, I can say his name is Nick Webb. He's just like sci-fi, and he'll be like, he'll randomly just drop off halfway through a project, and then contact me like a year and a half later. He'd be like, "Hey, so let's finish up this one." Like that's just been the way we've been working together for the past 10 years.
He must have a day job. That sounds like somebody with a life rather than me and Fletcher who don't and who think constantly about.
My problem is I finish a book, I get it edited, I get it all polished. I'm like, fuck yeah, it's ready to go. I should find an artist and get a cover. It's like, when would you like to release it? It's like, I don't know, like in a month or so.
And they're like, fuck you, Fletcher.
Yeah.
It's like
absolutely not. Get out of my house. Yeah. There you go. So in about August, he'll be ready for you. So you better have the special edition ready for him.
I've got some stuff in mind, but I'll figure it out later. Hopefully before August.
Yeah. A lot of times, I wish I could just like do any project that I found interesting immediately because
Yeah.
a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, I really want to do that right now, but
yeah. The blessing and the curse of being sought after, I guess, right? It's a
Yeah.
good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we're hitting the sort of half-hour mark. It's probably a lovely spot to wrap it. Once again, thank you, Jeff, for joining us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
for sure. Thank you, guys.
We'll have all of Jeff's info down in the something or other, whatever. And he's awesome. Look for him. I'm pretty sure you said you're going to Seattle this year. By the time this airs, it'll be this year.
Yeah, 2025.
So look for him and go up to him and tell him that you know who he is, and give him the ego boost he deserves. And then we look forward to seeing what else you have, because man, they're all hits. So you're doing great.
Well,
Thanks
thank you
for
very
coming
much.
by.
Yeah, thanks you guys for having me.
Yeah, and we'll see you again.